Hey everybody, Davey here from Davey's World Fishing. Today I'm going to talk to you about the brand new Okuma signature travel rods. These are all 4-piece rods, really cool, check them out. Now over the past several years, Okuma became very popular for their travel rods. The Nomad lineup travel rods, the SST travel rods, and some of the Voyager rods. Very fantastic rods. Unfortunately, the Nomad rods all went away. Okuma sold the Nomad name to the Nomad brand of baits, and they couldn't use it anymore. So what they did was they slid all of the new travel rods into the Voyager series of rods. Voyager has been popular for their multiple piece rods in the Okuma lineup for several years, but this year it was time to revamp all those freshwater rods, some of the bass rods, some of the boat rods, some of the surf casting rods, which I'll take a look at in several different videos here. But today I'm going to take a look at some of these freshwater rods. Now the freshwater series of Voyager rods are all 4-piece rods. They come with 1 tip. Some of the other rods come with 2 tips, but the freshwater rods all come with 1. They're really cool freshwater rods. They've got a true 1-piece feel to them too as well. I'm going to put this thing together and then we'll go through it component by component. These are a very high-end rod that feel like a true 1-piece rod. Honestly, they're 4-piece rods that feel like a 1-piece rod. Let's start way down at the butt section here. As you can see, that's got a very nice tapered cork butt section with a split grip. Comes right up to a custom reel seat. This happens to be the 7'5" heavy rod. It's a casting rod, but it's got a nice skeletonized reel seat with a screw down handle. It's a machined aluminum screw down handle piece there. So that screws right down onto your reel, gives it a nice secure feel. Sliding up the blank here, you get into the first split section. Now that's a long European spigot ferrule design that fits snugly down into the rod. So it goes all the way down in there. So you figure that goes up to about 2.5 to 3 inches into the rod blank. You're gonna have a little bit of a gap here, but that's standard for the European spigot ferrules. So you slide that thing down into there and then you start moving your way up. What's cool about the Voyager series is, I don't know if you can tell there, but there's actually 2 dots. Those 2 dots gives it nice and easy to line up and make sure everything stays in a nice aligned formation. So from your reel right down to your guides all the way up. So sliding up from that Fuji reel seat, you actually get into your set of guides here. Now that's a Sea Guide 3/16 stainless angled forward guide. So those forward angled guides all the way up there, what that does is that reduces a lot of line twists and tangles. As that line shoots out of your reel, whether it's spinning or casting, that angled feel makes it a lot less likely that you're going to get any kind of wind knots or tangles on each of these guides. If you do get a little wrap, that forward angle actually slides that line right on through. So when that is also, you have a zirconium insert in there as well. Don't know if you can tell that in the video there, but that's a nice strong zirconium insert built for braided lines. You can use braid all day. You're not going to get any digging or cutting into those ceramic style guides. These are zirconium, so you don't have that issue. So sliding on up there, you get into the second section. So that's the next European spigot ferrules. You can see that goes way down on in there. You also have your dots that line it up, keeps it nice and straight. You're sliding on up to that top section. Now the top section is a little bit different. So as you can see it there, it doesn't have your standard split like a European spigot ferrule does here. It's actually a tip into butt section. So your tip actually slides into that next section rather than over it like the next section down does. That just gives it a little bit more refined feel. It's not as thick of a blank up here up in the tip. And the tips actually all feature Okuma's UFR tip section. So that's that unidirectional fiber reinforcement. The fibers all run longitudinal rather than wrapped around in the front here. So you get a lot of bending, a real feel on your lift there. Now that you've seen all the components, let's actually put a reel on it. Let's spool it. Let's see what the actual bend looks like in this rod. As I mentioned, this happens to be the Voyager Signature Series. It's the casting, it's the 754. So that's a 7'5" 4-piece heavy rod. Let's take a look. All right, so now that we've gone through the components, I do want to show you what the action looks like on this rod. It's kind of a medium fast. It's not super fast, but it's not totally parabolic. Let's back up and take a look. I actually have this tied to a heavy bucket with some dirt in it, just to kind of give you an idea on what the action of this rod looks like. So as you can see, as we're loading up there, it's not a completely parabolic rod, but you have a little bit more of a faster taper there. As I mentioned, this is the 7'5" heavy. It's a great frogging rod, but that at least gives you an idea of the action of this rod. Guides line up nicely. You don't have any line touching your blank as you load up on these fish. You're gonna bounce a couple fish, go for it. You've got that UFR tip. You can really dig into those rods. Awesome little rods, but that's the new Voyager Signature Series by Okuma. That's the 4-piece freshwater. They come in casting as well as spinning. Check them out at the link below. They're awesome. But I do appreciate y'all checking in. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below and subscribe to Davey's World Fishing up in the right-hand corner. See you on the water.